Hey guys, Jimmy here to serve dental. Let me ask you a question. Are you struggling to find a system for your all-on-4 cases, full arch cases that's easy, convenient, cost-effective maybe? Right? We'd like to have that kind of help with our full arch cases. And why? Well, because our passion is on the tooth side, right? We want to spend all our time and energy making teeth and not have to worry about putting all the pieces together. Well, DESS has put together a pretty complete system, and today I want to talk about that. All right, let's start with the scan post, guys. We talked about those in another session, but let's just revisit the fact that the scan posts are titanium, not made out of PEEK, so they are more durable. They scan better. But for our conversation today, for full arch, let's look at the scan post, right? They have a scan post, of course, that goes direct to implant. We talked about that one last time. But they also have one to fit directly to the MUA. So if we want to do that scan in the mouth, we can simply add the scan post to the MUA, right? And it also has the plastic top, right? The PEEK carrier, which makes it handy for delivering it to the mouth. But when we snap that off, right, and then we turn the top until we hear the click, then we know it's engaged. Well, what happens if you lose the plastic piece or over time it wears out? Well, there is a metal version, right, that's autoclavable. So we can take the metal version, put it onto the scan post, tighten it in. So a pretty cool feature to the scan post, and again, have the scan post for both direct to implant and to the MUA. Once the scans are accomplished, either intraorally or in the lab, then of course we start plugging into our software. So in order for that to work well, we have to have libraries. DESS has done an amazing job with their libraries, right? They have over 30 systems in there, and they have the libraries for all their multi-units, all their tie bases, all the screws, everything is in these libraries. Easy to download. Go to their website, right? Right on the direct website, you can download the libraries and then install them into the software pretty simply. One of the cool things I think DESS has done, and I mentioned this before, right? They not only have done libraries for their componentry, but they have matched them to all the available scan bodies on the market. So no matter what a dentist is using, right, you can bring it into your software and match it up to a DESS component. So it's really a broad-based, fully compatible system, knowing that a doctor could use, say, a Straumann scan body, but we could bring that scan in of that scan body and go pick the appropriate DESS component if that's what we wanted to do. So a pretty wide-ranging aspect to the library. So they have the libraries for 3Shape, for Exocad, and even for dental wings. All right, libraries are installed. We're ready to go with the case. We want to create a model a lot of the times, right? So DESS has a really, really good selection of analogs, whether it's the printed model analogs that are color matched to the system, right? And so that's convenient. And the multi-unit abutment analog, right? They even have an analog for the DESS lock, the locator abutment. And again, very affordable and a wide range, every size, every type. So all the analogs are there to match any system that you have. Now let's talk about abutments. The DESS company has created a wide range of multi-unit abutments, right? Both in straight, 17 degree, and 30 degree, like pretty much everybody else. But they have all the interfaces, right? So we can use them on just about any implant systems, over 30 systems. And the tops, though, are the same, whether it's straight, angled, 17 or 30 degrees, the top geometry is exactly the same. So that means all the tie bases and everything we put on top can fit any of these, which is great. And they all use the Smart Switch screw, which is awesome, right? Because the screw top itself is actually matched to the implant system. So if a doctor has a toolkit for, say, Nobel or Brennemark, then he has the tool he needs. He doesn't have to have a different tip for a DESS screw. So abutments, right? I really like the angled abutment. The angled abutment at 17 or 30 degrees comes with this delivery screw, right? That's pretty easy to hold, right? So I get it in there. But I think the coolest thing about it is that this screw, this holder screw, actually keeps the embedded retaining screw from falling out, right? So no matter where we're going and which way we're turning, that's a pretty cool feature of the MUA. The straight abutment, nothing fancy about it. Like everybody else, the top of the MUA is matched to the one everybody else does, right? Which is the Nobel geometry on the top. Comes in multiple cuff heights. So you have plenty of options there on the website to fill whatever need you have with any case you have. The only other thing I want to tell you about with the multi-unit abutments is starting in 2024, they added an additional line to their MUAs, and they call it MUA Plus. It's actually the same multi-unit abutments, right, with one slight difference, and that is in the emergence profile area of the angled abutments. They're more anatomically correct, right? So they have some contour and turns to it to make it more anatomical to the tissue, which, of course, we always know can be better, to help the health of the tissue. The MUA Plus also come with that zirconium nitride coating that we've talked about on some other components. They use this on a lot of components, and there's a reason for it, right? We've said this several times as well. Number one, mechanical, right? It's more scratch resistant, it's more durable, it's easy to clean. But my favorite aspect of the zirconium nitride coating on the multi-unit plus is the biologic effect, right? They've got 2 major studies done that literally show the tissue being healthier around this zirconium nitride. So putting it on the abutments just makes sense, and I like that aspect of it. So multi-unit abutments, just about any configuration, size, shape, angle you can think of, compatible with almost every major system out there, really great screws, and now some anatomical features plus the zirconium nitride. After the MUA, the next step is to talk about the tie bases. And DESS has 2 major configurations, right? A straight and an angled, right? Pretty easy to tell them apart. So what's the difference? Well, other than the obvious, right? One is straight, the other one being the angled means that it is designed to allow up to a 25-degree variance in any direction. So if we want to put a tie base on an MUA and we need the hole to be moved, right, we can go up to 25 degrees just with that tie base alone. That's pretty good. But there are those rare cases, right, where you might need more. Well, the cool thing is that you can combine that 25-degree angulation tie base, one of the angled multi-units. For example, 17 plus 25, right, or 30 plus 25. We could go up to a 55-degree correction, combining the angulated tie base along with the angled MUA. Pretty cool option, right? So I love the fact that DESS has given us a complete system to be able to do whatever we need to do and not have to think much about it. All right, let's talk about screws. Why do I want to talk about screws? Well, because everywhere I go, I hear about people that are wanting to do direct to MUA, right, without a tie base. And you hear a lot about Rosen screws and ball screws, other screws, and it's great. They certainly have advantages, and it's working, and we see a lot of people using them. DESS did some pretty in-depth studies about strength and the force that these screws are placing on our restorations and that type of thing, and I kind of like what they've done. So DESS has created a new screw that's available that you can use for your direct. Certainly, you can always use a tie base, and we've talked about that, but if you want to do direct, what DESS found out in their studies is that sometimes those forces are spread wrong and in improper areas because it's hard for our milling machines to mill that taper accurately. And so we'll have a kind of a misfit of that taper in places, and that generates forces that's not really good. So we see some problems. One of the cool things about the DESS screw as well is that it allows for that same 25-degree angle. Right? So when we talked about the tie bases with the 25-degree, well, because of the screw top, which is a Torx top, we can move that up to 25 degrees. So if we're using the DESS screw on a direct case, then we can get up to 25-degree angulation correction as well. So absorbing powers, flat finish, easier for our milling machines to mill that recess. So I believe DESS brings a solution to the problem we all struggle with, and that's finding the right components in an easy to understand, easy to use, affordable system. If you have more questions, go to their website, dess-usa.com, or reach out to me, Jimmy@heretoservedental.com, and I'll point you in the right direction. Thanks for hanging out with me.